We have the new chapter. Fucking ads. Okay, new chapter. New chapter. 414 is out. That's something. A major reveal got told to me. Let's just read. And pretty excited. It allies. Room 1007. Um, we got some people sleeping. Whoa, they just. What is this? What is that supposed to be? What is this supposed to be? Tagashi, what is this? No, Tagashi likes his lines. I learned that there was like an assistant of Togashi. He made a manga. I checked that out kind of recently, in the past week or so. Yeah, Togashi really loves his lines. Like, what am I looking? Is this a knife? Did he get killed? I guess. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He got a shanky right here. Yeah, yeah. Oh, this is the feeling. My blood boils and my whole body burns with excitement. Huh. Martial law. Is this dude actually Arabic? Like, is he a Muslim? Is this dude Sneako? Like, why? Or is that just untranslated right there? Bro, it's hilarious. Martial law. 5 minutes left until it's declared. Come on, hurry up and be declared martial law. I will kill anyone who dares to oppose me, as I thought fighting suits my nature much better than exhaustive thinking and complex planning. Uh, there are movements among the personal guards of the first Prince Benjamin. Look, I'm Rice. I'm coming in. It's Rice. I'm coming in. The prince is asleep right now. Tell me what you have. Well, wait. Bring me some water. I'm feeling thirsty. Two soldiers from the first prince's private guard who possess autonomous abilities are standing in front of room 1009. It seems like something is going on inside the late ninth prince's room. So it has finally begun. What has begun? Special martial law. Do they want to frame the Ninth Prince's death as an act of terrorism? Or are they going to claim that the Ninth Prince was the mastermind behind the terrorist operation? Relay a strict order to all members of the private guard. None of them are to resist, no matter what happens. Have them gather their weapons and keep them within reach. Once the order is issued, they will shoot without hesitation. Hold off the first prince's royal guards for a bit. They won't dare harm members of the Hunter Association, so make up any excuse. I think they are currently asleep. If there was any movement outside before the order was issued, we would have received a radio report a long time ago. Hurry up, don't let them leave the breakaway. In, or- in order to everyone, dispose of all the medicine in the prince's ward. Put them in a pot and burn them immediately as fast as possible. Rice, come with me for a moment. Didn't we already settle the medicine issue with the Ministry of Justice? Once the special martial law is declared, the military will take full control. Any illegal act will cause real trouble for us. Our power falls into the hands of the military. They can turn white into black whenever they want, right? That's why there's no point in doing something like this. It's the prince's order. Stop grumbling and do it. Whoa. Oh, he caught him. Caught him. Caught you lacking. Why did you kill him, huh? That was self-defense. He attacked me first. Drop your weapon and explain to us what happened here. This matter might call for a judicial investigation. I don't mind throwing down my weapon at all, but and who exactly is going to investigate whom? No response if there's someone inside. This constitutes a rebellion against the Royal Army. The purging operation under special martial law is proceeding much faster than I expected, but that plays right into my hands. My ability is built on killing targets by combining N and air ball, but it is fundamentally unsuited for close quarters combat between N users. Oh man, how am I supposed to read all this? Well, okay. It looks like most of it untranslatable noise. What in the world? Well, yeah, this is what we got here. If you expand your end range, you become almost completely defenseless when someone penetrates it. On top of that, you cannot use Gyo at the same time, which means even a normal handgun could inflict a fatal wound on you. How did a person who is not even an end user generate this much pressure under the circumstances? Uh, huh? Using them while their guards are on alert. If they make a move, you will effectively be facing death. All right. The wider your N range, the higher the chance of clashing with other Nen users. If you encounter an atomic offensive ability that reflexively attacks N or Gale users, or a team of Nen users, where one uses N while the other three fire Nen projectiles, your fate will likely be death. Kurapika, that Hunter Association member, is only making things more complicated by increasing the number of Nen users among our enemies. It has now become almost impossible to keep her hidden without being discovered by the other guards. Even if you only try to sense them, the difference in skill level makes it extremely difficult. We will enter as soon as the order is given. Another Nen user, my ability to maneuver has been completely cornered. Check. Are you ready? Of course. Chamashi's ability, Beelzebub, Mount King, is a manipulation type ability with a semi-cohesive nature. By continuously touching the volunteer for a certain period of time, the user can make the volunteer immune for the same duration that the touch lasts. Once the immunity period expires, the volunteer enters a state of Force Zetsu for a duration equal to 100 times the length of immunity they received. As soon as the Zetsu state is lifted, the volunteer will receive damage equivalent to one-third of the total damage they nullified blocked during the immunity period as a result of Aura's backlash. What is he going to make him do, bro? No, this ability cannot block or nullify collaborative joint type attacks. Okay. Using N, I confirm there is only one person within the range, but in the amount of damage I nullify is immense. My death might be inevitable as soon as the immunity ends. A curse on this baby? Is there a possibility of that as well? Yes. In fact, shortly after we entered this room, I felt something like a Nen aura near the prince. My back has turned to him, and it only happened in a fleeting moment, so I can no longer tell what it really was. There's no way to know it except from beyond himself. But if the conditions to activate that curse are extremely complex and I fail to meet them, I will meet my end. That would be suicide. The most realistic solution is to negotiate with Beyond to find out his conditions. I can steal Beyond's ability with my chain to find out its nature, but Kakin will never release him, and Beyond himself has no desire to be freed. It could be the aura of an assassin whose identity we don't know yet, or perhaps it was the aura of one of the first prince's soldiers. As for the condition under which the curse activates Beyond, because his remaining in custody until reaching the new continent serves the interests of both parties. Exactly. Regardless, it is highly unlikely he would ever admit that the curse is his doing anyway. Sue. Sue. What is this? Sue. I think you've already realized that, but there is one condition we know for certain. Do you trust? Yes. The Hunter Association grants Beyond a pardon? Exactly. If the Hunter Association custody over him is lifted, we will take the bait. Impossible. This is Chairman Nettero's final will. There's no room to even consider that option. Isn't the chairman's wish for us to return from the new continent with a way to counter the disasters? If things are arranged properly, both parties might come out as winners. No, we are also bound by the contract signed with the B5, and I cannot risk dragging the entire Hunter Association into this gamble. I got this feeling like Netero, a recording of Netero telling people about his son Beyond. Yeah. Like what that might have been fake. Like someone with net ability like was able to do that. Like this is like a whole trap. This is like a honeypot. This is a honeypot trap here. That was a Netero. Yeah, yeah. This is a prediction I have. Above all, we must not forget a fundamental fact: Beyond is willing to sacrifice even his own flesh and blood to achieve his ambition. That's why he won't reveal the curse, as it is the core of his plan. Even if he shows willingness to negotiate, it is highly likely to be just a trap. And that is precisely why we are setting a counter trap for him. That woman, if we make good use of the ability of the fifth Princess Soldier, it might work, right? For example, we could include a clause regarding her ability within the contract with Beyond in a discreet way, or exploit the penalty for breaching the contract. If we think it through, we are bound to find a suitable way. Bill, aren't you supposed to be on Beyond's side? Why go all this effort then? Frankly, I'm glad you're not on Beyond's side. After everything I've heard about Beyond's actions and what he intends to do from now on, I have no connection to him, nor am I driven by any sense of duty to continue working under his command. You really seem to be that type of person who, once they set their mind to something, goes through with it until the very end, and strangely enough, this is a trait shared by many villains. I like that about you, but I wouldn't want you to hang out with you outside of work. Doesn't really sound like I'm being praised. My goal has completely changed. That has become solely to protect the queen and the prince, but when that becomes your concern, desires and doubts begin to creep in no matter how hard you try to resist. It is true that protecting the eighth queen comes first, but I can't help but wonder, isn't there a way to put an end to the succession war itself? As for the restrictions on which the succession war is based, I am confident that the Hunter Association will support that. None of its members wish to witness this carnage. Those who fear the collapse of these restrictions and the loss of the Guardian Beast's protection are only the current king and the headlines seeking to inherit his power, meaning Beyond and the front-runner princes and no one else. I believe the Hunter Association should unite to thwart Beyond's curse, weaken the Kakin regime, and then support an honest prince to be the face of the new system. And if the declared goal is to save the princes who have fallen hostage to the curse, the V5 won't object to that. And even Beyond's release doesn't have to be permanent. We release him now and then arrest him again later on under a charge. For now, dealing with the curse remains the highest priority, doesn't it? As for Beyond, I know him better than you do, so please take my advice. He is a highly competent, extremely self-confident man, but deep down he is a child who loves planning and maneuvering games. Therefore, he will accept any challenge directed at him and won't turn down a game of cat and mouse. As for the curse, it is the core of his plan, which is precisely why he will talk about it. In fact, he wants to. He is highly self-confident, and that confidence is backed by a tight, incredibly clever plan, and that is exactly why the entire Hunter Association must put an end to the succession war. The second major problem, I do apologize, I have crossed my boundaries. As for the second problem, it is that your majesty does not know that the whereabouts of the 14th prince. I do not know what kind of agreement was made when the two children were switched. But you thought it was best for the prince's sake not to know his whereabouts, isn't that right? Yes. Which means you have absolutely no idea where the prince is. And that means we cannot rule out the possibility that the real 14th prince is on board the ship. Darn, plot twist. Impossible. I don't think that's likely. But the problem is, how will you prove that to the army? At the very least, I don't think the first prince's followers have ruled this out, and they may have already begun their own search. A lot of words, man. Look at this. Look at this. What in the look? Look at all this reading, bro. Look. Yeah. That's just wow. Like crazy. Um. Oh, what the? Okay. With the repeated murders in the lower decks, um, let's see. With the repeated murders in the lower decks, a through inspection campaign has begun, and they must be re-verifying the data and IDs of all passengers during it. Yes, and I asked Piot to match the data of all passengers under 2 years old, and receiving no response so far, it means there is no one in the official records who fits these specifications. We might have to raise the age limit slightly, then search. Doing all this extra shit. And if he hasn't found this way, it means he isn't on board ship. Meaning, does that prove he isn't participating in the secession war, right? No. The suspicion will remain. Impossible. Hey, Karapika, couldn't you have chosen an easier way to say that? Hiding the truth won't change anything. In fact, having suspicious remain might sometimes be in our favor. What? Since the baby swap was carried out according to a planned scheme, the army will act keeping in mind of the worst and most damaging possibilities to its interests. In this case, the assumed possibility would be that the 14th Prince still holds the right of participation and is located somewhere inside the ship. And until this possibility is completely ruled out, he will remain within the scope of their strategic calculations. As for what we consider a final exclusion, the most we can hope for is one of two things. First, that the organizers of the secession war officially announced the non-participation of the 14th Prince. Second, to prove the existence of the 14th Prince outside the ship, as simply not finding him inside is not proof that he is outside. Bro. Specifically, in the second case, we must also prove that anyone leaving the ship during the secession war leads to their loss of the right to participate. Participating in the ceremony is the condition that grants the right to participate in the secession war, and it is difficult to prove that the one who participated in ship ceremony is your nephew and not the real prince, and then you won't be able to refute the suspicion that the real prince participated in the ceremony first, then swapped places with your nephew and left the ship somehow. As long as the doubt remains, the factions of the higher-ranking princes will act on the basis that the 14th prince is inside the ship. Even if he is found outside the ship, we would still have to prove that the prince who holds the right of participation loses this right as soon as he leaves the ship. In other words, as long as they haven't found my daughter, they won't acknowledge that she isn't participating in the secession war. Is that what you mean? That's correct. The suspicions of the higher-ranking princes, those who are taking the secession war seriously, will not vanish. In other words, they will be forced to keep searching for him until they find him. On top of that, in order to be the last ones remaining alive, they must determine whether the 14th prince holds the right to participate or not. In other words, as long as the 14th prince is not on the ship, he is completely safe. The leading princes won't be able to find him or even determine if he has the right to participate in the secession war in the first place. Since his status would remain in gray area, he would automatically drop down to target list of the secession war. But what if he is among the targets of Beyond's curse, if he is off the ship and his location is unknown? Then we won't be able to do anything, yes. We have two ways to solve this problem. The first way is to uncover the truth of Beyond's curse and find out whether the 14th prince is one of its targets or not. If he is indeed a target of the curse, then we must identify Beyond's real child, who represents the sacrifice, and then lift the curse as quickly as possible. As for the second way, it is to find the location of the 14th prince. Regarding the secession war, his presence of the ship and everyone's ignorance of his whereabouts give him a huge advantage. As for the curse, it is quite the opposite. If he is a target of the curse, you must find him as quickly as possible and seek the guidance of skilled extras to remove them then. Oh, like in Green Island, my one guy, the exorcist. Kobashi, what is all this, bro? What in the world? You are testing my reading tolerance. Like, why do you think I read manga, bro? Why do you think I don't read light novels? Like, bro. In terms of, might as well read a light novel. I might as well read a light novel, bro. In terms of neutralizing the curse, there is only one fundamental problem. but since the methods of dealing with them are completely different, I have divided it into two issues. Either we eradicate the source of the curse or we remove the curse from the target itself. There is no third option. In our current situation, we have neither the manpower nor the time to try and address both matters at once. Therefore, I believe we must focus on addressing the problem using the first issue. By doing so, we will also be in alignment with executing the agreement made with one of the Fifth Prince's private guards, but we too must act with the worst case scenario in mind so we can prevent the worst from happening. To solve the problem using the second issue, we will assume that the 14th Prince is the target of the curse, and we will strive to protect him and lift the curse from him. Therefore, I would like to ask the Hunter Association for search. Yeah. Yes. Finally, I would like to confirm one thing. I know for a fact that your lack of knowledge regarding the Prince's whereabouts is certain. But for example, in the event of an emergency and anticipation of the worst case scenario, have you not designated a specific person or place that can be contacted if needed? What an amazing man. Kurapika is not overconfident in his ability, and therefore, even if he gathers several facts, he does not rush to consider the result he reached as an absolute truth. He also understands that the queen's ignorance of the matter is her strongest card, even if her final decisive card, which is why he remains silent even after we reach this stage. The worst case scenario for us is that the 14th Prince is inside the ship, and that he is the target of this curse. It is enough for us to just prove the prince's existence, and then we'll be able to get the cooperation of the hunters back home. Won't you tell me, before I knew about this curse, what was the worst case scenario in your opinion? That a new king is chosen and that the king's forces find my daughter and we and all our family members are executed. That was the worst I could imagine. For from this case of the Temperance, we realize that withdrawing from the Succession War is a capital crime punishable by death. Just as Kurapika said, my confession might also be interpreted as just a lie I made up in order to survive the Succession War, and therefore I won't be punished. But the moment it is proven that we do not have the right to participate, we will become criminals guilty of capital offenses. Our only hope was that the Ninth Prince would survive and become the king, but now all I can do is cling to the hypothesis of the Succession War's constraints and pray that the curse has not affected him. And if the members of the Hunter Association are going to protect us, in the association there are people belonging to different trends and positions, and they are undoubtedly trustworthy, and frankly, I cannot ask you to trust them all. But there is one thing I can say for sure. I have companions whom I trust more than I trust myself, and I swear it all my life. They will absolutely protect the prince. Go. We got Killua with Alaka. Where are they at? Who knows? One of my relatives on my mother's side works at a post office in the kingdom of Yamato, and I will send him a coded message. We send it there first, and then it is returned to Kakin as address unknown for a fee. And by using this method, it will be sent and delivered to the sender's address, registered in Yamato, without leaving any trace in the shipping records. Faraway comments for still Sprint Kurapika. 49 days remain until the end of the Succession War. Oh man, that is this is manga history right here. This is manga history right here. Bro. Yeah. By the way, if you're wondering, yeah, this is what I got. I got. This is like a spoiler that I already knew before going. That Gon and Killua are back after what, 12 years, 14 years, but they are back. Look at my goats. They're back. Hey, my goats are back. My goats are back. I'm happy, bro. I'm so happy. And there, I had, bro, that's insane. I never expected that Gon and Killua were gonna contribute to the arc at all. I thought it was just solely Kurapika's own thing. I thought Gon's story was done too. Like, what else is there for him to do? Like, he's done. I thought like yeah, Kurapika, a Lodorio arc. You know, we we need a Lodorio arc, right? Or do we? I don't know. Like Takashi, we cooking, bro. They back, bro. My goats are back. That is insane. That shit was clean. That reintroduction. Well, yeah, good chapter. Well, you know, it's out the before. Okay, yeah, the rest is just the words, this and that. Like that was making me unpleasant. Yeah, I was gonna be like, "What? This chapter's kind of weak, bro." But this reveal, bro, like if you turn it around, the reveal is insane. Oh man, I was wondering because like I was reaching towards the end, and I'm like, where's the reveal? Is it really like the last page? Like what? Like I thought it was gonna have nothing to do with what the chapter was like talking about. Just randomly, oh hey, like you're back. Kind of like how Hisoka and Crollo like came back in the manga, like that. But yeah, that's clean. That's clean. Also, Hisoka and Crollo, bro. Like we got 2024. Come on, we're like 2 years, and we don't know like what happened. Like Crollo supposedly found Hisoka. He's gonna throw some hands. Like let's the hype is building, bro. Hype is building. This is clean. But yeah, that's good. I love this chapter. So see you in the next one, guys.